Mhm.
Hey, Jim.
Hi, Peter. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing today?
Not too bad.
What a beautiful day.
Yeah. It was a day where I hauled a bunch of crap from the garage out to the highway.
There
Both.
you go.
Yeah.
It's a good day
So,
for it.
yeah. And I'm close to finding the end of my garage
Ah,
one of these days.
Hello,
Hello.
I'm
hi.
Eve.
Hi.
Pardon me.
How are things up at the hill?
We had a 5K run up there on
Oh,
Saturday,
wow.
and about 75 runners. The
Great.
Yeah, and the trail goes, up to the summit and back. So it's challenging.
Sure. Sure.
The winner did it in 21 minutes. I'm,
Oh,
I'm just stunned. I
yeah. Yeah.
just can't imagine doing that.
It's the
That,
hills that kill you.
yeah, and that's 3 miles. So that's
Yeah.
3 7-minute miles.
That's pretty good time.
That's good time on
Yeah.
flat
That's a
ground
runner.
for me anyway. So yeah, but things are coming along. I wish we'd get a little rain, but
It's dry. I
yeah.
planted, just transplanted a half a dozen trees. And I'll tell you, the digging was like, the ground is like rock, solid
Oh,
rock.
yeah, yeah. Uh, we we've got a few plant fruit trees we need to get in pretty soon too. A couple you might be interested in. They're chestnut trees, American
Oh, no
chestnut
kidding.
trees. Yeah. In the last few years, apparently they've done some crossbreeding, and they think they've got some trees now that can withstand the fungus that almost made them extinct.
Yeah, my nephew, Chris, graduated from Yale, and in his square, they had these huge chestnut trees. I don't know how they survived,
Yeah,
but they were awesome.
they're just gorgeous trees.
Yeah,
So we're
yeah,
really hoping these will. We planted one last year, and it's going to make it, I think.
yeah.
So it's a woman. She's a botanist at Vassar, and said we could have 2 or 3 more. So we're gonna
Wow.
put them in. Yeah.
They have like they have I think what they're called a Chinese chestnut on the campus. And
Yes.
they produce these like prickly fruit.
Oh, okay.
I think it's, for survival purposes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I see that the squirrels and the woodchucks and the deer even, because they're a deer magnet, they
Oh,
manage to chew their way through. I don't know how they do it.
the biggest job with planting trees, especially on Peach Hill, is putting in all the fencing that you have to have.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
otherwise it just
The
they get
deer are murder.
in a day.
We have a bunch of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, right where you live. That's
Yeah, yeah. God bless them.
yeah.
Well, my sister about 10 years ago gave me a couple of Rose of Sharon, and they when they're in bloom, they're so beautiful, but they're very prolific. I mean, for
Oh,
every tree she gave me, there are at least a half dozen babies around each one.
they're just like the locust trees.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
shoots come
You
up
can't kill
all
them.
over. Yeah. 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 We had one, and every spring I hack out all the new shoots.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
tree itself is nice, but
I just planted rugosa
Um,
rose bush,
okay.
and they also are very prolific. They throw up shoots every year. And if you have a bush that's like 2 feet in diameter, it'll be at least 4 feet in diameter the next year, and then double that the next year. Actually, they're listed as an invasive species. but I need
Oh.
a hedge around one of my gardens.
Yeah,
So I'm
you know,
hoping that's going to work out.
Speaking of invasive species, somebody told me that Pachysandra is now considered an invasive
Really?
species in New York, and that you're not supposed to plant it.
I have a ton of
I've never heard of
Pachysandra,
anything like that,
you know,
but could be.
but they do grow. They're very prolific, like myrtle, you know,
Yeah.
Pachysandra, they're great ground cover.
Yeah.
Only the myrtle, you know, they have the added benefit of flowering, which is nice.
Yeah.
So, hello, Eve, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. Who's coming to the meeting today? Besides us?
I'm not altogether sure. I spoke with Mike Saffone earlier, so he'll be here. But other than that, I don't know.
Yeah, Mike is supposed to be here.
Okay.
He texted me. and said,
Stefan,
Hey, how are you, Peter?
good.
Hi,
Your-
Jim. Hi,
Your
Eve.
video is not on.
Hi.
I know. I'm a casual day today, Jim. You don't want my video on.
Well, you got me in my work shirt.
I was doing work in the office without clients, and then I was putting my soft top on the Jeep. So
Okay.
I think Mike was going to town hall to. Let me see.
Oh,
He's experiencing login difficulty. Tim, I guess.
now, there's, okay. Now, is Joyce the host for this?
Joyce from Jay's office.
Yeah.
No, I think she's just the one that sort of always chases everybody down to make sure that they've responded about what they
Okay.
can. Not, and I think from what Mike said, because I didn't even realize the meeting was today, but I think from what Mike said, they couldn't get everybody, but he wanted to get something scheduled just to get started because it just takes so long to try to coordinate everybody in a room.
Yeah. Mike said that he knew that were a couple of people that couldn't make it because of work.
Yeah. Work sometimes gets in the way.
Doesn't it though?
Someday when my kids graduate, maybe I'll retire. But so it's a long way off.
No, that will never happen. That will never happen. Speaking from experience.
You're gonna take care of me in my old age, Peter.
Well, we hope and pray.
That's why I'm nice to him. I'm nice to him. I got a chance.
Mm.
They're also good kids, so I'm nice to them for that reason too, I guess. I guess they're getting close to getting logged in.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Jim,
Yeah.
you know, has anyone ever come up with something to combat that invasive plant at Peach Hill? You know, the Chinese,
Hi, everybody.
There's a Japanese, what's it called? Oh, yeah, at Peach Hill, we've got
I don't know.
3 or 4 different,
Someone muted.
yeah, you have that viney plant that's choking all the trees.
oh,
Oriental bittersweet.
There you go. Yeah,
yes.
that's
Yeah.
horrible.
Yeah. Yep. I have that with my mock oranges. The thing
Yeah.
is, it's like serpents its way into everything.
Yes. And The only thing that we found is just you rip it out
That's all you can
and
do.
then every year make sure that you just mow around the base of the trees. And eventually 2-3 years it will die. But you know, for a couple of years it'll just keep coming up, and once it gets up into the branches it just explodes.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. We just signed on and we were having some difficulty with the town's website, so I had to use my personal laptop. So, okay, I'm glad you guys can hear me. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt your private conversation, but I wanted to thank everybody for taking the time out today. I know I've talked to a couple of you today, but I wanted to just set up, this group and see where we can go and to get the job done to find the town a suitable facility. I have some documents that I'll share with you, but first I just want to go through, does everybody know everyone?
No,
Not really.
Okay, I'm Mike Saffone. I'm a town board member. I'm a parole officer by trade. And I live in the town of Poughkeepsie for most of my life. Anybody want to go next?
Yeah, I'm Jim Challey. I'm a retired physics instructor from Vassar. I was on the town board about 20 years ago, and between roughly 2010 and 2020, I was the chair of the Zoning Board of Appeals.
I'm Stefan, town board member, Gabrielle and Hannah's dad at this point in my life.
I'm Peter Finelli. I've lived in the town a little over 40 years. I served 3 terms on the town board, and I'm in my 10th year on the town planning board. Since 1973, I have traveled throughout the Hudson Valley and beyond, buying, selling, leasing, and managing commercial and industrial property. I served on the town board when we were completing the existing town hall, which was a combination of renovation and construction. And I was also chairman of the Tri-Municipal Sewer Commission, where we completed ahead of schedule and below budget a major, about a 50% expansion of the sewer plant. And I spent 3 years as chairman of the finance committee when I was on the town board, and we came in with not only did we commit with budget cuts every year, but I learned a lot about municipal finance, which has always been very helpful. So that's pretty much why I'm here.
I'm Eve Gendron. I have a background in architecture, including some town planning and sort of related projects. I've been out of that for a little while, but happy to sort of be helpful if I can be.
Great.
Well,
I've been in the
welcome,
town for about 18 years.
Well, welcome, and we'll accept any and all help we can get. There are
Amen.
a few other people that obviously couldn't be here today. I talked to a few of them. Frank Cantelmo is a contractor. He can only have meetings after 7 o'clock at night, and he could be available on weekends. Brian Powers works during the day. There's Catherine Berkeley and a Lauren Kurtz. Both, one is a school teacher, and the other one has some background in architecture and design and drawing. So I did not get back. I did not hear back from them directly, but I know they couldn't make the meeting today, from what I was told. But what I wanted to do today was kind of see what your availability is, because what's the best time for you? I prefer in-person meetings if at all possible. I think we get more done that way, but I will leave it up to whatever works best for the whole. We could do both in person with Zoom. We can certainly work with that. I know we want to look at a couple different buildings. We want to look at the IBM 708 building. Like to look at the golf course. I know Jay did go see the IBM building, and he wanted me to share some information with you about that building. And there are a couple sketches that we can send to you, the schematics and whatnot, and I will have them sent to everybody's email later this evening. But some of the notes he wanted me to put down for that building, if is everybody familiar with that building? Have you been in it?
I
Yes,
don't
I've been
believe
in.
it.
My wife used to work there years ago.
Okay, well, some of the things Jay asked me to share with you that access IBM developing a proposal to provide gate access so we can get through it. The square footage is about 140,000 square feet distributed fairly on 2 floors. The approximate age is about 45 years old. Construction is framed with brick face. It has sanitary sewer. We'd have to do some work with IBM to access a sewer line so we could be separated. Municipal water is available near the intersection of Route 9 and Spankill Road, possibly a little closer. There is natural gas on South Road. There is parking. There's heating and cooling. Town must provide heating and cooling units if located on the roof. Load bearing capacity must be determined. All ductwork throughout the building will remain. It does have a flat roof, roughly 25 years old, except for a few patches. It appears to be impervious. We will have to look at that. There's 3 loading docks. Ceiling height is 9 inches, ceiling to tile, roughly 16 inches floor to floor. There's an elevator, 2 passenger, at least 1 for freight. There's an emergency generator. 1 is oil fired and for emergency lighting. Obviously, the parking lot paved and striped. Support columns are steel, measure approximately up 30 feet on center, and interior walls, sheetrock and frame appear to be non-load bearing. So that's what I've got for the building, and we just need to figure out a couple things from today. How we best are going to work together, your time, when we could get together, if you want to pick a certain day, and we try to all work our schedules around that a certain time. All the meetings are going to be open to the public. So we're going to, we'll have people, we have it here live, people will certainly come here, they could zoom in. We just have to set the ground rules to open dialogue if we want to work first, and then have open dialogue similar to what we do in the town board meetings, and take input and try to answer questions as best we can at that time, or, you know, however you guys want to do it. And I will be looking for someone to chair if anybody wants to chair, if anybody has time, and I'll put that out in an email to anybody that's available, or I'll ask Mike Welty to do it, since we need somebody that's available during the day to be able to make phone calls to the real estate agents and what have you. Because I do work 5 to 1 most days, and some days I don't know if I'm going to get out of work at 1 o'clock. I sometimes routinely go into the evening hours. So, but I will, you know, tailor my schedule around whatever works best for the group. So, anybody have any input, I'd be happy to listen.
Jim, do you think that's something that you could do?
I honestly rather not. I was going to ask you the same thing. I think it might not be such a bad idea to see if Mike Welty.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Or Jim and Pete co-chairs. All in favor? Aye.
No, too many cooks spoil the soup.
yeah.
I think if Mike could do it,
Okay,
I'd be fine with that.
okay, I will ask him. I'm in town hall right now, so I will go downstairs and ask him. And I would show my face on this thing, but I don't want to lose you guys, because I don't know how to turn it on to get my face on here. So I hope I'm not offending anybody.
Don't worry about it. I do think we should have somebody from the planning staff.
Okay.
You know, in part just because of access to, you know, maps and the records and all of the planning board materials that have accumulated over the years. You know, he's in a position to put his hands on stuff that would take any of the rest of us, you know, a week to find.
Okay, well, they are Joe Cavalieri, the police chief, is definitely going to be in on some of our meetings, as
Good.
was Welty as well, but I will speak to Mike about possibly being the chair today. So do you guys have a preference and what's your best schedule? I mean, I haven't talked to anybody else yet, but
I would suggest that we almost have two sort of meetings. One which would lend itself to Zoom and or town hall, and others more like a workshop where we try to I think we should get a short list of properties that would even be able to fit what we need. And then maybe the workshop meetings would be where we hopefully go out to different sites to take a look. I think the first stop should be Poughkeepsie Day School because that's already on the list. I think everybody should just become, whether you like it or don't like it, I think everybody should just become completely familiar with what it is, so that when we go out and compare other properties, we can say like, yeah, this has that, but Poughkeepsie Day School had that, and have a clear understanding and kind of work from there. I know like Dutchess Golf and Country Club came up as one of the properties, and the IBM building came up as another. There's a property, it's the old Kerr property on Route 9. That's another one that came into the queue. There's only so many that are big enough and in the right locations. The Sears building is one of the ones that is in the list. We could probably see if like South Hills Mall or something there would fit. They're looking at doing self-storage. Jay originally had said he didn't like the idea of putting this at one of the malls because it would kill it. I think self-storage would kill a mall quicker than a police court facility because self-storage has a very low traffic volume. And the idea I always thought was these anchors, they need the anchors to pull in the people to the other stores. But I think we should just come up with a short list and say, here's what we want to look at. Maybe Mike Welty can figure out how to get those in the queue. The workshop meetings, we'll go look at those. And then maybe since one of the people in the group can't meet until 7, the sort of more discussion about like, the ideas that we have and what we're trying to filter through could be a 7 o'clock meeting or something like that to loop in people. This way we're maybe capturing a maximum amount of people to get input, and also kind of keep everything moving forward without waiting for everybody to be able to like be in the
Well,
same
if there's a
place.
person if there's a person that's only available at 7 o'clock, all these meetings are going to be, on tape. They're being videoed. So, they'll always have that opportunity to catch up in that way. I mean, I am open either to, I prefer meeting in person, but Zoom is fine, or a combination of those. And my schedule is pretty flexible. So also in terms of properties, the planning board really is full. The applications we're getting are dominated by adaptive reuse properties. There's very little open space left in the town. Besides, you have Vassar, you have the Trap Rock property, the Kerr property you mentioned, the Dutchess Country Club. After that, it's a very, very short list of properties over 5 acres. I mean, they're just about non-existent.
Yeah, and I think it would, Dutchess Golf and Country Club, they're floating a proposal which is way more than that property should have. But I think one of the things that we need to do is look quickly, because as soon as something actually comes into the queue with a project, it moves that property off the radar, because then, I mean, the last thing I think the town wants to do is get into a bidding war for a piece of property that we're going to put the police court facility on. I think we got to kind of find something before before everything is happening, because we got to find something that's cost effective, centrally located, big enough. Those properties are sitting out there right now, and if we wait, we'll start to scratch some of them off the list that might have been viable. I mean, the Dutch Golf and Country Club, I'd kind of like to take a look at. I think where that building is sitting isn't the best location to kind of put what we need and then be able to do something with the rest of the property, but it's not the worst. But if we don't look at that sooner rather than later, that one probably comes out of the queue, and we're stuck with one less option. So like I said, I would almost say, I mean, I don't know about the rest of you, but I've seen Poughkeepsie Day School. I don't know if you guys are interested in taking a look at it just to understand what that is beyond the like presentations that have been made to the public.
I've been there. And
Yeah, I mean, I've done quite a bit on that site, so.
And
Um,
I've read the proposal also. So I
Okay.
have a fairly good working knowledge of that property. But I'll be glad to go along.
Eve? You're muted.
Sorry about that.
Okay.
Not as familiar with the property. I've been over there a few times, but it might be helpful to do a quick look within the context of this proposal.
Yeah, that's my, because what I've driven by it a million times. My kids have done Strings Camp in the Kenyon House. They've done Dutch Starts Camp in, I can't think of what's the other building? I can't think of the name of it.
Gillickson.
Gillickson. So I've been there a million times, but when I went with the town to look at it, when we were looking at purchasing it, I got a better understanding what's there because, you get beyond just the public spaces. So I would probably say that we put it out to the entire group. We get a date and time, put it out to the entire group. So everybody that wants to can take a look at it, because this way we at least compare apples to apples. Because
Okay.
right now we may say Poughkeepsie Day School is not the best fit, but when we go out and look at all these different, Dutchess Golf and Country Club, I kind of like it, but I feel like when we get in and look at it, it starts to look less appealing, because I just feel like that building would be hard to retrofit, just built as a big open like catering hall. So that's what I said. I think looking at Poughkeepsie Day School will get everybody a clear understanding, and then we can compare these things. I would probably say Poughkeepsie Day School, Dutchess Golf and Country Club. The Kerr property, there's no buildings on there, so I don't know if we'd want to like try to walk the property. The IBM building, we could set up a time to take a look at it. The old Thailand building, the old IBM Education building. From my understanding, that building, they bought it and they sat on it and they didn't maintain it. So I always thought that was kind of a cool building and nice location, but from what I keep hearing is A, they want a lot of money, and B, it would cost a good chunk of money to bring it back up to where it needs to be. But I do think it's worth looking at, so that we understand that's, everyone throws these things out. We can understand that that's what that option is. But whatever, maybe we compile a list and then we move the top 5 up and we pick those and set those to the workshops and see if we can do like maybe every other week we're going out to a location, and then the opposite week we're at town hall discussing like what we like, disliked, and focusing in on how this will work best. That, these properties are, good for these reasons, but bad for those, and sort of keep moving things either up and down on the list to the point where we'll say, yeah, maybe Poughkeepsie Day School isn't horrible, or, maybe the Thailand building is fantastic.
I think we could do more than one property a day, and
Absolutely.
to drag this out, look at one property and then next week have a workshop really doesn't take that much time. I mean, I'm also thinking, the police are sitting there, I think everyone pretty much accepts the fact that something has to be done. I think we could do this much more expeditiously than, if we have 5 properties, you're talking about 6 weeks or almost 2 months, depending on how things go. I just think we could do it on a much more expeditious manner.
I'm thinking we could at least do 2 or 3 right away. I could talk to Mike Welty, see if he could set something up. I just need to know everybody's availability. If the majority of us can go look at them, that's great. If not, we could try to get there and look at them on our own. I've seen the Poughkeepsie Day School. I'd like to see the IBM building, but I'm certain I wouldn't mind going back and seeing the Poughkeepsie Day School again, and the Kerr property wouldn't take long if we're just walking it. So I think we could reach out to Mike and get at least those 3 properties out of the way quick enough. That seems like an early morning walkthrough, if that's good for everybody.
Yeah, even the Dutchess Golf Course, it's not a big deal. I mean, and right across the street is the IBM building, and really just down the road from there is the Kerr property, which without trailblazes, I don't know how we're really going to find our way around it. I mean, it would be just as easy if we had a contour map, even a USGS map to see what the contours on there, because it is gonna be hilly.
Yeah,
But you
I'm
could get
not-
it,
I'm not even sure I'm not sure if there's ways in and out of the Kerr property or not, but, and I'm
Yeah.
perfectly fine doing, I mean, if we got 5 properties and teed them all up in one day, that's fine with me. It just, however you guys want to do it, I just think we should, like I said, we should have like the workshop meeting where we go out and see the properties, and then a meeting within a week that,
sure,
you know,
and discuss.
where we discuss it, and just move through it. This
Yeah.
stuff, it's not really overly complicated, just because we got to find it within the contours of the town of Poughkeepsie, and there's only so many properties. So
And they're very limited.
yeah, so that's why I say that this isn't, there's no, not that there's no creativity, but you can't create a property that's not there. So when we look, there might be properties on the north end of town that would be the right size, but they're too far north. So that's what I say. I think at this point, let's get an exhaustive list from everybody, then pick like the top 5 that we want to look at and try to get those all queued up in a day or two. And maybe if we don't do, maybe we do Tuesday, like a Tuesday and a Wednesday, so that we get it done in 1 week. I don't have a problem working through this quickly. And I think at this point, it's probably better. See, I always like, you meet, you discuss, you make a decision. You just keep moving.
Don't get me wrong. I don't think we should be hasty, but I think
No.
that, I think everything that we're looking at here, at least from my experience, is not going to take a lot of time. I mean, either it's going to look usable, it's going to have utility, it's in a right location, or it isn't. It's really not rocket science.
Right.
Just so I'm clear, what do you mean by the Kerr property?
It's over off Kerr Road. It's like, it's David Silver owns it. It's right next to the Ginsburg property, like just south of it. But you
Where
Oh,
the IBM Country Club is,
Yeah,
when you go past the IBM Country Club, then you go up the hill past Sheaf Road.
yeah,
On the left-hand side, on the east side of 9, there's a piece of land there where it's been known historically as the Kerr property. It
okay,
used to be
okay,
owned by Saul Silver. Now I think his son owns the property.
okay, all right, gotcha. Thank you.
and
Has-
none of the, go ahead.
Sorry. Has anyone looked into in the past the cost of remediating a site like the Kmart site?
Problem with,
Unfortunately, the reason that we're sitting here today is because we have a police facility built on a site exactly like the Kmart site. I mean, Kmart
Right.
built, they had to put pilings in the ground there to stabilize that building so that they could conduct their business.
and the
I mean,
town,
nobody knows really, that was a town dump for many, many, many years, and God knows really knows what's underground there. But it's
Jimmy
not,
Hoff-
good. Whatever it is, it's not good, whatever it is.
the town did look at it with the police court facility years back, because I had a concern about the stability of that building. We brought a structural engineer to look at it, because my thing is we, for better or worse, we got to know what we have and make sure that our people are safe. So we had a structural engineer that came and looked at it, and we had talked about what we would need to do to fix it. And at that time, my general understanding, I don't do this for a living, but I mean, you basically have to drill down till you get solid ground and float the entire building on concrete pillars, I guess, in order to make it work. We have multiple offers on that property for pretty good money. I'm not convinced that the money that they're offering will end up being what we get, because they all understand it's on landfill, but I'm not sure that they've looked at the actual numbers as to how you stabilize that and make it work. And they all want to use it for warehouse space, but we'd be dealing with the same. I think for a ton of reasons, we need to get out of that area completely. There's, if nothing else, there's bad karma with that building and the way all that came out. So that's why I think the cost will go up very, very quickly. And when we pay prevailing wage as a municipality, it makes it even more difficult. And so retrofitting that is going to be, I just think, too difficult. And like I said, if we fixed our current building, we'd have to, the plan originally was we fix our current building, we move the police and court out of there while that's being done. The cost of doing that years back was in the millions just to move them for a year or two. And then the cost of actually doing the work was more than that. So I think at this point, if we have someone willing to buy it, we should just take that. It'll defer the cost of what we buy new. And personally, I just think we need something different, somewhere different. I think it's like, it will be sort of a fresh, clean start for the town.
Mhm.
That property is just bad for many, many reasons, in
So
my
it'd be
opinion.
nice, for people who get a traffic ticket and they live in New Hamburg, and they have to drive all the way up, to Burnett Boulevard, it does. I think it would be fair. It would be great for everybody in the town if it were more centrally located than where it is now.
Yeah, it's also, to me, something off the Route 9 corridor, I like that the best just because if before GPS and Google Maps, trying to give somebody directions to town hall or the police
Possible.
facility was, I would just say drive that way and then ask somebody when you're over that way somewhere, because it's just almost impossible. But the police court facility is not centrally located, and it is like a difficult place to me, a difficult place to get to, get in and out of. But again, my biggest concern is just that landfill, and everything that I've been told is pretty much what Peter has said, is that we don't even really know what's in there. And
No.
I think we got to get the people out of there, because just like I looked at that when that building collapsed in Florida, people were looking at it and talking about it, and then nobody did anything. And then everybody tried to figure out who to blame. I just don't want to get anywhere near close to that, because there's no coming back from that. So that's what I say. We should get out of there, stay away from it. Somebody wants to buy a warehouse, they got to deal with drilling through the sludge and hitting the earth again. And we find some good, clean piece of ground somewhere, or nice solid building, and we start fresh from for the town. So, but yeah, we did take a very, very detailed look at that years ago, and the cost was astronomical.
So Eve, for your information, there's a property diagonally across from the Kmart property that was recently purchased just for storage, outdoor storage. And the DEC came in and they just closed them down. They
Mhm.
can't use the property until they don't even know how to remediate it. But that whole area there is really, really toxic in a lot of ways.
Yeah. So why don't we maybe, I don't know, Mike or whoever, or Mike's phone, or Mike Welty, send an email out to the group, ask for suggested sites that we want to take a look at, put together a list, and then have Mike Welty work on getting them. I'd say, I mean, it's Monday. Is it Monday? It is Monday. I can't, it's a blur these days. It's Monday. If Mike Welty can get some queued up for next week, we just start next week and start looking at them.
Sure.
And I have a completely open mind on this. I really liked the IBM Country Club. That ship sailed. That was $4 million. And so, but that ship sailed. The thing I don't want to have happen is any of these ships sail away from us while we're standing flat-footed. So if we can get them queued up, take a look at them, and like I said, get as many people from the group as possible to go there. I think the site visits should be the group, because I don't think you can really bring, you can't potentially bring like 20 or 30 people over to somebody's property and wander around. So I think the site visit should be the group. All the other meetings, we have a town hall open to the public and do it that way.
All right, I will talk to Mike Welty as soon as we end and see if we can get something set up.
Well, yeah, and then if you're gonna send out to the group, also ask them about when they can meet.
Yes.
And, I'm okay with evenings, I'm okay with weekends.
I
During the
think,
day.
Jim, the only problem there is that, there are going to have to be people, say, for instance, some of these buildings might not be available in the evening.
Yeah.
we
I
might
mean,
have to schedule a
Those are
daytime
probably, yeah, those are
visit.
probably gonna have to be daytime visits due to real estate has access to them. But we could certainly try to bring a camera and take pictures and whatnot, and maybe video the buildings and put it out there so our group can see it if they're not present.
Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
well, no, those I
idea.
do, those I do think they just need to get scheduled. And, you know, whenever Mike Welty can schedule them sometime during a weekday, he gets them scheduled. Everybody that can make it makes it. If for some reason somebody can't and really wants to, we could look at tweaking it. But I think we just got to get those scheduled and like move through that fairly quickly so that we see them and have an idea what we're talking about. So the other meetings, I think we should figure out how to get as many people involved as possible. The site meetings, I think we just got to get them scheduled so we see as many sites as possible in a short period of time to be able to start talking about real things versus theoretical.
You know, weekends are best for me early. I don't know about anybody else, but you know,
I'm like right now we're about to power down with soccer for like 2 weeks and then we get right back into it, and then we're like traveling all summer to soccer and going to Rhode Island, England, Hershey. So I like weekends aren't that easy for me, but I mean if that's when if that's when it can get done, schedule it and I'll try to make it, and if not, everybody else will fill me in.
Okay, I think we just have to wait and see. You know, we're actually a minority of this group, and see what the others can do.
okay. All right, so I will have Mike Welty send something out. And Eve, do you have a preference?
My schedule is actually pretty flexible. Things do come up, but in general, I'm pretty flexible, so.
Okay, then I will go speak to Mike Welty and see what we can get set up for as early as possible. All right.
Good.
Thank you guys for signing in today, getting back to us. So it's a good
It
start.
was nice meeting you.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't.
Nice to meet everyone.
All right.
Okay, all right. Well, I figured out how to do it. Hi, everybody.
Okay. Be well.
I didn't want to hang
everybody.
up on anybody. I'm sorry.
Mm.
All right, you guys have a great day, and
Thanks.
Mike Welty to send everybody an email. Okay.
Great.
All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
You're welcome. See ya.